wife has said a lot about your question, and your question is very valid. And I
Yeah.
know where that question is coming from. The fact that you want to be comfortable so that you can even support your husband in times of challenges, and I get that. So the question is, will you be comfortable at what age? That's a question. That's a $1 million question. So if you are comfortable at 20 or 22 or 24 or 25 or 30 or 35, so the yardstick now is whatever age, regardless of my age, as long as I'm comfortable, that is when I'm gonna get married. Okay, so if you are comfortable at 35, 40, that's when you're gonna get married. So pretty much you are saying your priority is being comfortable first. Maybe so you can take care of your parents or take care of your siblings. Maybe you are the firstborn and you feel that you have responsibility to take care of. I get that. I get that. And those are valid, especially when you're the firstborn or secondborn, or your parents have invested so much in you. And it's like the younger ones are looking on to you and you feel that pressure that, I need to be settled and be comfortable so that I can take care of responsibilities, not just in my family, but also my parents, so that's a very valid question, you know. And just like my wife said, you take it to God. You take it to God. Say, Father, I want to be comfortable before I marry. And these are my reasons. One, two, three, four, five. God says, bring before him your strong reasons. He said, let us talk, let's discuss. God is a father. He cares for us more than we care for ourselves. So take it to God. Tell him why you are saying what you are saying. And say, Father, this is what I want because of these reasons. But Lord, let your will be done in my life. That's the ultimate, just like Jesus Christ. He didn't want to go to the cross because his flesh kicked in at the Garden of Gethsemane. He said, God, if it's possible, let's find another way to achieve this salvation. But if it's possible, let me not go through this punishment I'm about to go through. But the father said, no, 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 no. You have to go through it. This is the only route to save this sinful world. And when he knew that his father was not going to change that plan, he said, okay, let that will be done. I'll go through it. That's why this weekend we are all celebrating. Easter will be tomorrow because of what he went through, and we are better for it. So, yes, your plans are valid. You know why you want to be comfortable. You yourself you know your reasons, and nobody can fault you for your reasons. But as a child of God, you take it to God and say, Father, these are my reasons, but you know best. Let your will be done. And leave it like that. And when you do that with a sincere mind, God will take charge. So that's that, and that's what I did. Because when my wife asked me a question, she said, "Okay, that before we even got engaged." She was like, I think she asked me, I may not be correct. She said,
Just talking. We're
"When,
just talking for it was
yeah,
a
when,
friendly
when,
chat.
when do you plan to get married?" Or something like that. And I told her maybe like 5, 10 years from now, because I wanted to be comfortable. That was I didn't mention that other part to her, that because I want to be comfortable. I just said in my head, I knew at that time I was not comfortable in quotes. So I said, well, in my mind, I said, well, the next 5 years or 10 years, I think I should be comfortable. That's in my head. But I didn't say that. But I just said, oh, 5 or 10 years, And that was it. And that one we left it like that. But God now decided to reveal his own timetable to me. You see, God could have just left me alone to do my own thing and just be looking at me. But he revealed his timetable to me. I was in church at a Bible study one day, just a regular service, and God said to me, look back. I looked back, and God said to me, that lady at the seat before the last row, that is your wife. Okay. That's the guy that said in 5 years, 10 years time. Oh, and God said, okay, that's your wife. Okay, fine, at least. Okay. That's I was sure that was God because it couldn't have been me. It couldn't have been my imagination. So the journey started of, getting to know her, taking her out and all that. Then when we now knew that, yes, she said yes, that she could marry me and all that. And even at that time, my mind was still maybe 5 years time because God only told me that is your wife. He didn't tell me the time. He just said that is well, fine. Yeah. So, and one day we went for a friend's wedding. We went for a friend's wedding. And at that wedding, God just spoke to me and said, ask me for the time you want. Ask me when I want you to get married. Ask. Say, God, what God's telling me that I should ask him when he wants me to get married. My own was 5, 10 years. That was me because I want to be comfortable. And at that wedding, God spoke to me and said, I want you to ask me when I want you to get married. I was scared when I heard that because if I ask God and God tells me what I don't want to hear, I am stuck. You know, you see, it's better not to hear from God than to hear from Him and
And
you
you don't do it.
disobey.
Mm.
That is worse. So if I didn't hear and I'm just doing my own thing, it's better. But to now hear and say no, people in the Bible that did that, people like what's that guy's name that ran away from God and
Okay.
the sheep Jonah.
Jonah.
You know what happened to Jonah? It was a mess. He was so you can't run away from God. So I started praying. So I told my wife then, my fiancée then, that see what God said to me, that we should pray when He wants us to get married. So that was how I started praying. And guess what? When God started speaking, when did God tell us? That same year. That same year was God's time. Not, I'm saying 5, 10 years, I'll be okay. And God said, open your ear. It is this year I want you to get married. This year. This year. But you see, when you heard from God and you want to please God, you just obey Him. So, and after we got married, we obeyed God. We got married that year. And 6 months after that date, we found ourselves in the United States. So this is the point I'm trying to make. If we did not obey,
Mm.
if we did not obey God, to get married that year, there is no way we will be in the United States in 6 months' time. There's no way, because that disobedience will have blocked the next agenda that God had for us. That disobedience will have cut it off. God will have shut his heavens over us because of disobedience. We will have missed it. We are in US today because we obeyed God at that time. You know? So that's a different story, how we got to US. But I'm saying that if we did not obey God to get married that year, we will not have been able to get the next plan that God had for us to come to US. So it's good. You have a valid point. Taking your points to God and say, God, let your own will be done. And God will perfect it.
Thank you, sir. And I would like to add something. You see, even when he was saying 5 years, when we had our casual talk, in my mind, even though there was nothing between us, I said, definitely this is not the guy. Because I've always told God, I never like, I don't want to have a long courtship. So even by the time he was even asking me, to propose and everything, in my mind, I had told myself I don't want long courtship. So I believe God was hearing my own prayer, and God was like, "This son, this my son. This is not that. That is not the plan I have for you." So, but we thank God that we're where we are today.